The planning in 2011 leaked very heavily from the Pentagon and the White House was to keep 20 to 30,000 troops after 2011.
Right.
The White House then leaked that they really wanted to only keep 3,000. Then they said to al-Maliki, not only do we want a status of forces agreement, but you have to get it through your parliament. So for the first time, to my knowledge, since 1945, we have 84 SOFA agreements around the world. We were telling the host government how they should proceed in approving that status of forces agreement. That put al-Maliki in an impossible political situation.
But weren't we trying to have him do it in a democratic way and have his country agree?
Excuse me, Aaron.
Hold on, can you answer that question, though? Wasn't he trying to use his parliament in a way to have them democratically support that agreement?
After I answer the question, I'll answer your next question.
Welcome to part 2 of this Gimme 5 segment here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Aaron Burnett and Paul Bremer, of course, the former presidential envoy under George W. Bush to Iraq, explaining why there was no SOFA agreement reached under Obama and why we have no troops in Iraq. And not liking that Aaron Burnett, who has been confrontational throughout, was interrupting him more.
Usually the system goes, you ask a question, the guest answers it, then you ask your next question.
That is true. I felt like I'd given you plenty of time on the prior question. So as long as you finish it, please answer the one I just asked.
From al-Maliki's point of view, we had said we were going to have only 3,000 troops there. That means, in effect, they would do nothing. They would sit at the Bakuba Air Force Base and protect themselves. It's less than a brigade. They would not be able to have any effective counter-insurgency or basically any major training. So we put al-Maliki in an impossible situation with that demand. And effectively, I think in many ways, there are a lot of people in this town who believe, and I'm among them, that this suited the president's purpose. He didn't want to have to keep the troops there.
So
certainly, everything he has done since then in Libya and in Syria speaks very highly of a desire to get out of this region.
All right, that's a fair point, and I tend to agree with Paul Bremer, but then Aaron Burnett raises Afghanistan.
But you say the president wanted to get out of the region. He's the one saying he wants to keep nearly 10,000 troops in Afghanistan with the status of forces agreement there. If he wanted to get out, why would he be doing that now?
Look, Aaron, we can rehearse Afghanistan if you wish. I mean, he announced a surge with a deadline. You don't win wars on deadlines.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the answer to the question.
When he announced his surge into Afghanistan of 30,000 troops, in the very next sentence, he's talked about when they would leave.
That's true. He did.
Yeah.
Again, just like George W. Bush in 2008 said he was going to leave on December 31st at midnight 2011. That's a deadline.
We had won the war by then. That's the difference.
Oh, boy. What an interview. What an interview. And here's one more.
Then you should have pulled out in 2008. That doesn't make sense.
We needed to keep training the Iraqi army. We needed to keep working on them on intelligence. Those were the things that were continued and which the President Bush intended to continue after 2011 and which were substantially cut back by the fact that we withdrew our troops at the end of 2011.
I don't know what she doesn't understand about it. And here's one reason possibly, folks, for the confusion. Let me take you back to when Aaron Burnett was still at CNBC and George W. Bush was president. And he's walking with Merkel and Sarkozy. And she's on Morning Joe, I believe, at the time. And watch and listen to the disrespect, the utter disdain and disrespect that this woman, Aaron Burnett, had for President George W. Bush. Watch.
While Nicolas Sarkozy is in China, which of course is also trying to become a financial capital of the world, and in honor of his visit, the Chinese have announced $30 billion of deals. There he is. I mean, who could not have a man crush on that man? I'm not talking about the monkey either. I'm talking about the other one.
Yeah, exactly. What? A monkey? Who's a monkey?
She called George W. Bush a monkey. Okay? And, you know, well, what can I say? Do I need to say anything? Does that not explain a lot? She called the President of the United States a monkey, okay? And here she is taking Bremer to task, and George W. Bush should have done this, and why didn't you do that, and aren't you to blame for this and that? I mean, objectivity? No. No. And now CNN, to boot, hires the man who said that the Romneys would like to party while blacks drown in New Orleans during the convention. He's going to be their political director. There it is on the Steve Malzberg Show.